It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Hello, I'm Jacqui Drechsler, and I'm glad to be back at Rockland World Radio with Richard Quinn. I'm here today to talk about the water issues in Rockland County. I'm speaking on behalf of the Rockland Water Coalition, and I'm here with a very good friend of the Rockland Water Coalition, Rita, Louie, who's from Haverstraw and has been involved with the coalition for at least the last 5 years.
Yes.
And we are here today to talk to people about the desalination plant in Haverstraw, which actually is not off the table. So maybe, Rita, you'd like to talk about that from your early days of this.
Thank you, Jacqui. Thank you for that introduction. Yes, it is not off the table. As hard as we've worked, all the years that we've fought, all of the thousands of people that came out to public hearings in the last few years, and the announcements from the Public Service Commission that the Desal plant was going to be delayed does not mean it's off the table. And right now, United Water has gone back to the Public Service Commission and is asking for a definitive decision on whether they can go ahead with Desal or if they should not go ahead with Desal. So I believe there's a public hearing. There's a public comment period right now that we're in, so people can still voice their opinion on that. Of course, my opinion, and that of Jacqui and the Rockland Water Coalition and thousands of people all over Rockland County, is no, a resounding no, as I'm sure many of people who are watching this now or who are listening have participated in one part of this process, whether you've signed a petition, whether you've come to a public hearing, whether you've been more active and put a sign on your lawn. Of many tens of thousands of people in Rockland County have been a part of this process, and we still need you for one more time.
Yes, so the problem is, the one more time, is that United Water has asked the Public Service Commission for a decision. They want to collect either their approximately $50 million of money that they laid out prior to building the plant, or they want to go ahead and build the plant, which would cost the ratepayers approximately $200 million. So we are being asked to write into the Public Service Commission with our comments regarding this. You may write to secretary@dps.newyork.gov by October 5th, which is the deadline for your own personal comments to the Public Service Commission. So one of the reasons this is really important right now, there was something developed called the Rockland Task Force on Water Resources Management, and the Public Service Commission suggested that United Water be a part of this task force, which is made up of people in the county legislature, people on the Rockland Water Coalition, and other members of the public who are experts, and United Water. And so the task force got to work. There was a wonderful report by a woman named Amy Vickers, but since that report has been released, the Public Service Commission in short order the United Water pulled out of the task force and then petitioned the PSC for a decision on desalination.
Let me just 1 second, Jacqui, just put an exclamation point on that
Okay.
issue. United Water was invited to sit with the residents, the community, the legislature, the people and decision makers of Rockland County to plan and talk about and come up with comprehensive plans for the future of Rockland's water, and has now stepped away from the table and said, nah, we're not going to do that. United Water has decided they don't want to be part of the Rockland County Water Task Force. That's monumental. It's huge. It basically, when that happened, United Water sent a resounding message to the Public Service Commission and to Rockland County that said, we don't really care about your water. So.
Correct. And so part of the issue is raising money to pay for the experts that have testified for the Rockland Water Coalition in front of the Public Service Commission and for the Amy Vickers report. And United Water was part of paying for that. And now that they've stepped away from the table, it is up to the county and to the Rockland Water Coalition to come up with the funds to continue the next part of this.
Well, Jacqui, you don't think United Water wants to help pay for reports that are proving that their data was
Incorrect. Correct.
So that's
correct.
I would think that was one reason they walked away from the table, because once that Amy Vickers report came out, they said, uh-oh.
Right, doesn't make us look too good.
Doesn't make us look good.
The thing is that the Amy Vickers report also did come up with some constructive ways in which things can be handled and ameliorated. So the thing is that the task force is going to be going ahead, and actually at this point I'd like to read a little short statement from Harriet Cornell, who is the chairman of the Rockland Task Force on Water Resources Management. So this is from Harriet Cornell. Would you believe that 25 years ago the county of Rockland was going to buy property and build an incinerator to burn solid waste as an answer to the loss of landfills? But thanks to residents who urged the county to try recycling, Rockland wasn't saddled with an expensive capital project, which would have shortly become a white elephant. Recycling keeps the air from being polluted by a burn facility and earns revenue. That's the path being taken by Rockland's Water Task Force, which works to ensure that Rockland has sufficient drinking water for all who live and work here. Water is a precious resource, and while we know that our aquifers recharge in a very healthy and predictable way, we also know that a lot of water is lost as a result of leaky water mains and pipes, and that with a real water conservation plan that focuses on proven ways to have a safe, long-term, sustainable water supply, Rockland will be prepared for the dry times that occur from time to time. Each of us will need to do our part, and that's why the many volunteers serving on the Water Task Force, representing businesses, schools, government, and members of the award-winning Water Coalition, are dedicating themselves to safeguarding our precious resource. Please join with us. From Harriet Cornell.
So just to put an accent on that, I wasn't living in Rockland County at the time, but Harriet Cornell and several people that are on the Rockland Water Coalition and others in our government were heavily involved with that effort to stop the incineration plant at the time.
Yes.
As were some people who were involved in stopping the, in Sloatsburg, the electric plant.
Oh.
So people know who are working on this issue and who are sitting on the Water Task Force, they know that this works, that if the powers that be, the United Water, giant Goliath is saying it's a done deal, we know that it's not a done deal. We know that real participation from real people in the town, in the community, in the local governments really actually works, because it's been proven, and that's what Harriet Cornell was referring to in her letter. So, I'm a proud member of the Rockland Water Coalition, because we have, in fact, stopped the Desal plant dead in its tracks from happening. And let me just tell you a little bit about why I joined the Rockland Water Coalition, because I think it's important for people to understand. I was campaigning locally for a local office and found out about the desalination plant secondhand. And when I was introduced to the Rockland Water Coalition, I was really happy that somebody was doing something, because I kept thinking, what are we going to do 25 years from now when, year after year after year, there's radiation in our water and children in Haverstraw start having clusters of cancers and things. And the parents 25 years from now are going to look back and say, what were the people in Rockland County doing in 2010? What were they doing? How did they let this happen? So we didn't let it happen. And I know that I might not be here. I knew that I wouldn't be here probably when all those residual effects way down the line may have come out due to the desalination plant. But I know now that that's not going to happen. And then nobody in 25 years from now is going to be looking back and saying, what were the people doing? So right now, the people, you all and us all, we all have to do just a little bit more and make sure that this thing gets stopped, really stopped.
Right.
So I have a letter also from Alden Wolf, who couldn't be with us today, but wanted to send his words, and he is the chair of the legislature for Rockland County. So I would just like to read that for you. The people want a say in how their water is managed. This was clearly seen in the grassroots opposition to United Water's desalination plant, a proposal that is too costly and too energy intensive and just wrong for Rockland County. I continue to oppose United Water's request for a $50 million surcharge for the plant. Our ratepayers should not be further strapped with costs for the most expensive means to increase our water supply. I remain committed to ensure that Rockland County has safe, reliable, and affordable drinking water, and that our supply is used and provided in as sustainable a manner as possible. Rockland has the 5th highest rainfall among New York State's counties, and we're a state with good precipitation rates. We must solve our water management problems without more rate increases. I'm confident that the Water Resources Management Task Force will arrive at a sensible conservation plan. Above all, we must repair our infrastructure, as too much water is being lost every day through leaky pipes. In my capacity as Rockland County legislator, I stand ready to propose, discuss, and enact any laws or make other efforts to boost our conservation in our county. So that's Alden Wolf, the chair of our legislature, who is instrumental in, managing laws and influencing the legislature in our county. I think that it's awesome that he cares deeply about our environment and about our water supply going into the future.
And so many people do. I have actually been to the task force, the water task force meetings, from the inception. And it's a great gathering of local experts, outside experts, people in government who really care and want to make sure that we have sustainable water that's safe. We do have to play a part in conservation. When I was here 2 years ago doing the same thing, I was with Louie Seaman and George Klein, and Louie talked about the word conservation being off-putting to so many people, and that she really likes this term, relationship with water, that we need to work on our relationship with water and how we use it and why we use it and how we can use less of it. So it is up to everyone in our county to try to be resourceful for themselves in the way that they use their water. While we're here today, I really wanted to talk about some of the fundraisers we're doing to raise money for the Water Coalition.
Awesome.
To help keep this task force going. And so just right off the bat, I want to reiterate one more time that people can write into the Public Service Commission. You can also go to knowdesal.com for all sorts of information regarding water and events, how to write into the PSC. But one more time, you can write to the secretary at dps.ny.gov for the October 5th deadline regarding desalination.
And just put Haverstraw Water Supply Project in the
memos
in the
space.
memos line.
Yes.
And really go to your computer right now, go on your email, and write a letter.
Do it.
To secretary@dps.us.gov.
NewYork.gov.
.newyork.gov, sorry.
Correct.
dps.newyork.gov. And just say, I oppose the desalination plant. We don't need it. It's too costly. I'm not paying $50 million for United Water to be reimbursed for the money they spent on this foolish project. And Public Service Commission really does take your letters seriously. Every time someone writes a letter via
They read
email,
it.
they will get a response. That email will be posted in the Public Service Commission file, and it really, really counts. So if everybody who's watching and listening right now gets on your computer and writes that letter, they will get a multitude of letters right now, and it would be a tremendous boost for our effort.
As a matter of fact, I do believe that when all of the people came out to the public hearings, we had 1,600 people come out to those public hearings. And that is equivalent to 160,000 people, because one voice counts for 100. So it's very important to have your voice be heard. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our fundraising efforts that are going on. Right now, coming up very soon, we're going to be having something called the Rockland's Got Talent Review. Now, this is kind of like an old-timey variety show. It's on September 29th at the Nyack Center, and I think that's 58 Depew and South Broadway in Nyack. And it's just going to be a blast. The event goes from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., and it's including dinner because it's on a weekday night. We don't want people to miss dinner, so we're including some dinner, and we're having a fabulous lineup of people to be our guests and to act and dance and sing and clown around. And so we're hoping that people can come to that. You can go to rocklandsgottalent.myevent.com for ticket information. You can also go to the No Desal site, and that will also bring you to where you need to go to get tickets for that. We want people to come with their kids because I think kids are going to like it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And especially if you,
We do have an amazing magician coming who will be doing card tricks and other various tricks that will blow your mind. So if nothing else, you need to come to see Rogo.
and we have David Blavelt from Johnny Cakes. He's been on the screen and stage, and David Blavelt is going to be our MC. We have some dramatic readings and singers and a ventriloquist with a puppet and Spanish dancer, and we have jazz and folk music and a fabulous classical flutist named Stephanie Starrin and performance artists, and it's just going to be a wonderful evening. We also are having some fabulous gift baskets. I would call them door prize baskets. One will be for dining out, some certificates to different restaurants. There's going to be a kids basket from Buttercup and Friends, an adult basket, and then an art basket. So hopefully everyone can come out to that and really support the Rockland Water Coalition. We really need support. And also our entertainers, our performers need an audience. So hopefully you can all come out to that.
September 29th.
September 29th at the Nyack Center at 58 Depew Avenue and South Broadway in Nyack. And it's from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Dinner's included, and you're just going to love it. It's an old-timey variety show.
What a great
Yeah.
event it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm so glad. I'm
Yeah.
so glad. Thank you. I also wanted to talk about another event that's coming up. Let me just get to the right thing. This is in the Sierra Club newsletter Terra Firma, but this is also to do with Rockland County. It's another fundraiser, and it is. It's called A Solar Home Companion. It's going to be on November 8th, which is a Sunday, in the afternoon. The time hasn't been announced yet, at Temple Israel Center at 280 Old Mamaroneck Road in White Plains, and it's called A Solar Home Companion. So it's an evening that combines classic storytelling and great music with roll-up-your-sleeves organizing to look at the impacts of fossil fuel development, and this will provide a vision for developing renewable energy like no other event on the planet. Headliners for this event are Josh Fox, the creator of the anti-fracking Gasland movies, which if you haven't seen, I recommend heartily, but you have to have a strong stomach for that. And so it's with Josh Fox and Zephyr Teachout, who's an anti-corruption expert who did challenge New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in the 2014 Democratic primary. So this fundraiser is being sponsored by the Lower Hudson Group, the Sierra Club, and the Rockland Water Coalition. And there's going to be a group there called Ethical Electric. I think the tickets for this are $15. And if you go to the actual event and you switch your energy provider to Ethical Electric, or you sign up with Ethical Electric at the event, Ethical Electric will donate money to the Rockland Water Coalition.
That's
and they're
awesome.
coming with
That's
their own
wonderful.
big band, and it's just going to be a wonderful afternoon or evening, whichever it is. So those are two fabulous events that are to benefit the Rockland Water Coalition, which I've only been involved with now for a couple of years. Several years ago, I did the Water Week in Rockland Restaurants, which was a fabulous fundraiser, and last year we did the House Party for Water with Tom Chapin and David Amram and Jeremy Wall and Michael Mark at this incredible geothermal energy efficient home up in Pomona.
Right.
And
That was awesome.
you know, this year we're doing Rockland's Got Talent. Come pack the house, have a great time. So the issue here with Rockland and the task force is that we have to move ahead without United Water on board. And that's what we're doing.
That's their choice.
We are going ahead with finding sustainable solutions for Rockland County with or without United Water. And hopefully they'll do the right thing and take recommendations.
So let me ask you, Jacqui, on the website, on the
Yes.
nodesal.com website, is there a schedule of when the Water Task Force meets, or information about joining one of the task force committees? Because I know there are committees that
Right.
people at
There-
large could join.
There are subcommittees, and I think really what you need to do is you need to get in touch with the Rockland County website. If you go to the Rockland County
Homepage,
homepage, you will find a way to get to the task force on water.
Oh, good.
Okay, I do believe that there's about 6 subcommittees, right? There's stormwater and drainage, and there's many different
Yeah.
kinds of subcommittees. And I do believe that, you know, people can join onto those committees if they have expertise or the desire to do the research.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, you know, are out there who still want to get involved and don't know how, so,
Right,
I
they
think
can
that would be
absolutely-
a great
I-
way to stay involved with the water issues
I-
that affect us.
And I do believe that those dates are supposed to be posted by the county for when the task force meets. You can also, you know, become a member of the Sierra Club, and you'll get email blasts regarding stuff like this.
That's even better.
Yeah.
The Sierra Club has been an amazing partner of the Rockland Water Coalition.
They are amazing.
They have been such a great supporter of our effort, and I don't think we could have done it without them.
No.
The Rockland Water Coalition basically is just made up of volunteers across the board. They've been fighting
Against the
against
desalination
the
plant.
desalination
since its
plant, against
inception.
United Water since its inception over 8 years ago. It's made up of scientists and environmentalists and attorneys.
And concerned citizens who
and
discovered
concerned
water
citizens.
flow going to out of the county that shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
You know,
So when I went to Albany with the petitions, and we had almost 25,000 signatures. So just imagine, there's 300,000 people in Rockland County. We had almost 10% of the county sign the petitions. That's unheard of. It was unprecedented.
Yes, it was
And-
huge.
And the environmental chairman in Albany, in the governor's office, was actually floored. He couldn't believe what we brought in.
Well, because that represents 250,000 people.
Yeah. It's never happened before.
So,
It's
you know, there's
unprecedented.
been a little bit of an issue because the Rockland Business Association does feel that, you know, desalination could be good and good jobs and this and that, and that they represent many businesses that are for this. But quite honestly, if you look at that number of signatures on the petitions, and that equals approximately 250,000 people, and the county has 330,000 people, I would say that the county is opposed to the desalination plant.
Absolutely.
So we just have to kind of hang tough, raise money, be active, have our lawn signs. I mean, this is a dynamite lawn sign. This is eye-popping. It's great. I think this was designed by George Potanovic.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. And, just get involved. As Pete Seeger says, participation. That's what's going to save the human race. So everybody has to do their bit. I do want to say one other little thing, that in the very recent issue of the Rockland County Times, on the first page, there was an article that says the county urges voluntary water conservation. And so here we go with that word conservation. Think of it as saving water and not just conserving it, okay? So we've had, I think, 17 or 18 days of heat wave, although it's been broken up. Last year by this time, we only had 8 days of heat wave. Now we're on our 18th day, I think. So we have experienced below average rainfall with near record temperatures. And it's important for all residents to conserve water at home, at work, and when they're outdoors. Of course, when you're outdoors, though, you need to drink water to make sure that you don't get heat stroke or dehydrated. So there are a few tips from the health department for the county. They say to repair leaking toilets, consider replacing older toilets, only flush toilets when necessary, use low-flow shower heads, take short showers instead of baths. Let's see, turn off the water while shaving or while you're brushing your teeth. Run your washing machine only with a full load of clothes. Wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl of water instead of under a running faucet. That's a new one.
That's a good one.
Turn off the faucet when hand washing your dishes. Use your dishwasher only when it's full. Don't run your tap each time to let your water get cold. Keep a pitcher chilled in the refrigerator. That's one of the most common sense things that people just don't think of. And when you're washing your car, use a bucket instead of using the hose. Okay? So those are some of the things that we can do to conserve water just on a very individual scale.
And you would think that these are common sense conservation
Yeah,
efforts
but
that
we all have to
everybody
think
knows
about it.
about, but we have to remind people all the time because they forget.
Right.
And new generations come along and they forgot that we had to conserve water 10 years ago and everybody got low-flow toilets. And, we're going to have instances where there's drought. We're going to have drought periods. We're going to have, enormous snowfalls in the winter. Some winters we have less snow, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I
this
think the
year.
trend is
I think
more
the trend is
snow.
going the other way.
More snow.
But if so, part of the water task force, their task
Yes.
is,
Finding
to
ways.
find ways to manage that water.
Right,
and
right.
not let it,
And we
just,
actually
just flow away.
we actually do have a lot of water, and our aquifers do recharge.
Yes.
Of course, then there's also the issues of building and how building
Development.
impacts the amount of water per acre, per family. So there's those kinds of issues, obviously, that we all have to be aware of and get involved with.
Well, I think that we really hammered home the idea that United Water, every time there's a development, has to sign a willingness to serve letter as part of the environmental study when a development is going in. United
Right.
Water
Has to
signs
sign
a
off.
willingness to serve letter, and they have to sign off. And then they said, yes, we have plenty of water. So one of the arguments we had was, well, if you have plenty of water, why do you need a desal plant? Well, because we don't have enough water. You can't have it both ways. Either we have enough water or we don't have enough water. Well, the reality is we have plenty of water, and we're going to have periods of drought.
Right.
So conservation should not be just happening during periods of drought. It should be happening always so that the aquifers are strong and healthy even during periods of drought.
Absolutely.
And that's just a common sense way to have a relationship with your water.
I do, and I've been really thinking about my relationship with water, and I try to conserve. I mean, I've been working on that whole conservation thing of energy and water for, wow, I guess since the late 60s and 70s. It was kind of ingrained in our
It was
family.
ingrained in us in the 70s, and people forgot over
conserve.
the years.
And it's interesting. There are many people in Rockland County, however, who don't really think about that. They don't, maybe they're not that aware. They didn't grow up with it. Also, there are many people still in Rockland County who are not aware that there could be a desalination plant happening in Rockland County.
It boggles my mind that people still don't know about it.
They don't know.
They say, I had
What do you mean
actually just about a
desalination?
month ago, I heard someone say, what's desal?
Right.
I said, how could you live in Rockland County and not know this yet? You should know this.
No,
That this could have possibly happened to us.
And I do want to say something that I found just very fascinating, that actually when Indian Point was built, they were given permission to dump a certain amount of radiated water into the Hudson every day. Was it 60 gallons a day or
Yeah.
60 gallons a week? So they've been doing that
Too much.
continually. And the reason why they were given permission to do this was because, after all, no one was ever going to drink Hudson River water.
Because it was considered a non-drinkable water
Right.
source.
So wouldn't you know that this desalination plant is right across the bay from Indian Point, and of course you cannot take out the radiation from the water. So it's just a no-brainer that this cannot happen. Desal does work upstate. There are plenty of places that actually have used desalination plants, but they're not downstream of Indian Point.
It works on ships, submarines, it works on islands.
Right,
When
so-
you have a pristine ocean that you're desalinating.
Right, but we don't actually need it when we get the highest amount of rainfall in New York
Right,
State.
right.
No,
Oh,
we
yeah, it
don't need
works
it.
in Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia
yeah,
and
it
other
works-
desert areas.
It's a
absolutely.
vital thing, as a matter of fact. It's a vital service.
But they're not
in-
getting 40 inches of rain a year.
Correct. So, at any rate, we hope that you will take advantage of the fact that we have this fabulous website, nodesal.com. You can go there and learn about all of the issues to do with desalination since its inception. You can learn about all sorts of other environmental issues that are affecting Rockland County that have been coming through that many of the environmental groups are working on together. But do take advantage of the nodesal.com. Find out what's going on. Read up about the issues. Write your letter. I do believe they may even have a mock letter on the site that you could
Yes.
even maybe, cut and paste to
Yeah,
send.
if you don't
It's
know
very
what to-
easy.
If you don't know what to write, you take the mock letter or take the mock letter and make it, change it a
Personalize
little bit to
it a
make
little.
more personalized. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. And we do want to mention the email address again, just in case anybody hasn't gotten to their computer yet to
Oh,
write
yes,
that letter.
okay, so writing the letter to the Public Service Commission, and I have to say, it's the most gratifying thing to write letters. You can really vent a little bit, and you know that it's going to actually be read.
Yes.
So you can write to secretary@dps.newyork.ny.gov. The deadline is October 5th. If you've already written a letter, you can actually update your letter.
Yeah,
So
send it
you
again.
can go do that, get involved, do your letter. You can there's even a call-in number, I believe, on the website of nodesal.com. Come out to our events. We have these two fabulous events.
Oh, yeah.
You are really going to love this Rockland's Got Talent. Rockland's Got Talent review. I really should have said Rockland's Got Talent variety show, because it's really like an old-fashioned variety show, and it's just going to be so much fun.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
And you can come to that. You can go to the Solar Home Companion and see Josh Fox and Zephyr Teach Out and a great big band, and sign up with Ethical Electric. You can do your part and do what you can. So I think that's about all that we are going to cover today.
I think we made our point.
Yes, and I wanted to thank Richard so much for letting us come in to do this today. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, and thank you, Jacqui, for inviting me.
Thank you, Rita, for coming. It's been a pleasure.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.